Hello and welcome to part 2 of the BBJ Sim Racing Truck Simulator button box video. In this video I'm going to go through setting up the button box, allocating buttons to functions and using key mapping software to make the most of the latching switches. On this PC I have a fresh installation of Euro Truck Simulator 2 and a fresh installation of SV Mapper. SV Mapper is the software I'm going to use for the key mapping, and you can find a link to it in the description below. I've already set up my wheel and pedals and set a couple of functions to the wheel buttons such as indicators and look left and right. I'm not going to set up the full box but show you how to set up various types of switches so you have all the options available to you. When you first plug in your button box, it will do a short plug and play installation. This can take between 15 seconds and about 2 minutes. In this case, the installation is already completed. I'm just going to quickly open Device Manager and check that the buttons are working correctly. As everything appears to be working correctly, let's get going and allocate some functions. Okay, so we're in the game now, and what we need to do is start allocating some functions to our button box. So the first thing we need to do is tell the game that our button box exists. So if we go to Functions, Controls, and then open this menu here, you see button box interface, just add it in and there we are, simple as that. Now we're in a position to start adding some keys. Right, I'm not going to do the full box, but I've got a list of a few I'm going to do, so I'm just going to go through and do them. This is pretty straightforward to do, so right, first one is trailer attach. So you just click on that and then find the button that you want to use. I'll use this button here, so you just press it and it should allocate it like that. So Joy 2, which is joystick 2, button 18. The next thing I want to allocate is light mode. This is a function that just basically scrolls through, so it goes no lights, parking lights, dip beam, and each time you press the button it just scrolls through. So select that, and then I'm going to use the push to make switch in that encoder. So I'm going to select that there, Joy 2 button 8. The reason I've used that is because I want to use this switch for main being above it, so it'd be nice to keep the two together. Next one I'll look for is hazards lights. There we go. I'm going to use this button here, allocated. Next thing I want to set up is the ignition switch or engine start and stop. Now, because it'd be a bit weird to use the key switch to stop the engine, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the engine start on primary, like so, and then I'm going to assign engine stop to a separate button, so it's like a kill switch. There we go, and that's done. The other thing I want to show you is an encoder, so I'm going to use the cruise control to show you how I would use a controller. So to select cruise control, I'm going to go for this push to make switch on top of the encoder here, selected, and then for cruise control speed increase, I'm going to use that encoder function. For cruise control decrease, I'm going to use the same encoder rotating in the opposite direction. And cruise control zoom, I'm going to use this button sitting underneath there. Okay, that's great. I think that's all the non-latching controls that I wanted to show. So the next thing to do is to make a note of the latching switches that I want to use, and then move to SV Mapper and show you how to set that up. Here we are in SV Mapper, and what I'm going to do now is modify the behaviour of the latching switches so that they behave more like keyboard presses. Basically, most software is looking for switches that behave like keyboard keys, and when you have a latching switch, it only sends half the information to the PC, so it results in funny situations where you get double actions or actions that only happen half the time. So what SV Mapper does basically is turn your button box switch into a keyboard switch, and you can program it to send a double press each time you activate the switch once on the button box. So I've already mapped the switch for the headlamps. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the trailer air supply and the parking brake. So if we activate our switch, SV Mapper will show us which switch it is, which in this case is 18. So we can turn that back off. Now what we need to do is go to the mapped key on press section and double click it. You see you get a little yellow light up next to the button name, and now you should be able to go ahead and press your key. Which in this case is the space bar. So just press the space bar on your keyboard, and that's done. So looking at this now, this means that when you pull your switch, it will change that to space bar, so it's turned it into a keyboard effectively. But we want that to send that twice, so we need to go to mapped key on release and do the same thing. Okay, and that's done. Right, for the trailer air supply we do the same thing. We need to identify the switch, which is 17. Double click in the mapped key area. Now there wasn't actually one set by default for this, so I've actually allocated it to Z, so I'll press Z there, and then go across to the mapped key on release, press Z, and that's it. For the purposes of the video, this is all I want to set up for now. So we need to save this. Put it as save as. I'm going to save it on the desktop. And I'm going to call it ETS2 profile. Actually, I'm going to call it ETS2 test profile. Now, once you've made a profile for your game, you will need to open this profile before you load your game. It doesn't need any plugins or anything in the game, you just open it beforehand and it will be good to go. So if we just do that now. Open SV Mapper. And then open profile. And there we go, that's all set up. So now, if we open ETS2 again, right, okay, now here we are in the game, so now I'm hoping that all these functions I've assigned are going to be available to us. So we should be able to turn the lights on here, and then we should be able to go to main beam by flicking this, and then when we go back that should turn main beam off. Okay, so we can see that is working correctly. We'll just check our hazard lights. Yeah. Okay, I know this is jumping around a bit, but we're just going to look at the cruise control controls that we set up. Okay, let's engage our cruise control again. Here we are, we've used our click button on top of the encoder to engage cruise control. And we're now clipping along exactly at 55 miles an hour. So if we want to bring that down a bit, we can use our encoder to bring that speed down. And if we want to bring it back up again, there we go. Obviously any touch of the throttle or brake will disengage the cruise control, so let's try that. And if we hit cruise resume, it should take us back to our assigned speed, which it has. So that's very cool. Roadworks, that's why we've got a 30 limit, so we can probably reset the cruise for like so, and we can have the cruise run us through these roadworks at 30 miles an hour. He's a bad man. Okay, excellent. I think that has describe the cruise function perfectly, and it stopped me from getting a speeding fine for once. Okay, so let's just do the truck parking thing again. I've taken the easy option, so let's see if I can just park up the truck. I'll look at a couple of these controls that are of the stationary type. Right, okay, so we can put on the parking brake now. Obviously we can turn off and turn on the engine. And turn off the lights if we so wish. And then finally we can unhitch the trailer, which will do nothing unless we press the right button. There we go. Okay, well, I think I've done the best I can with demonstrating this button box and showing how you can use all the different switches for different functions. So I think really only our imaginations are the real limitation of this. So I'd just like to say thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.